Thanks for coming on, Cam.
Of course.
I think we have a lot of similar interests. I've been following you for a little while. And so, I think the whole premise of the podcast is to, to inspire people, to help educate. And we want to hear your story. You're a pretty successful real estate developer. You live a healthy lifestyle. And so I think it kind of all goes hand in hand. And, just kind of want to tell us where you started and how you got to where you're at today. And I know you started in football and then how you transitioned that into making money and being an entrepreneur.
100%. I appreciate you having me on. Very excited about this, and I've been looking forward to it. So thank you for that. But man, a little bit about me, kind of just how I started. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's where I was born at. I grew up in Houston, Texas, for the most part, a small suburb like Pearland is what the name.
I know where it's at.
Yeah.
I grew up in Galveston County.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Pearland, played sports all my life. When I was in Louisiana, I would be country. We had a ranch. We had horses, cows. I used to rope. And my grandparents, I always saw my grandparents in an entrepreneur role. And I never knew that at the time, right? I thought my grandparents ruled the world when I was younger. One had a car shop, and he always had a bunch of just everything, four-wheelers, cows. And my other grandpa had barbershops and clubs. And so I would always go there and when I was young and be in the barbershop and like selling candy and just like feeling like I didn't know what it was, but I just like always wanted to do kind of what my grandparents did. And so fast forward to I'm in Houston and I go through high school and I end up getting a scholarship. So at this point, I always wanted to play in the NFL. I never really had an idea of like getting a job in that sense. I always wanted to either go to the NFL or MLB, right? And so once I get to college and things I start to kind of really just getting like more realistic with life. And it's like, okay, if you're not going to go to the NFL, what are you going to do? And I really never had any care to really do anything. So I didn't know what it was I was going to do. And then my mom got me started with real estate. She basically was like, I had a clothing brand. I've always had an entrepreneur spirit. When I was younger, I used to sell candy in my grandpa's barbershop. When I was
the same thing.
In school, I would go and get candy for 25 cents and I'd bring it to school and I'd sell it. So like I was an entrepreneur and I never knew that it was that. Right?
I didn't either. My mom would take me to Sam's Club and then I would buy it in bulk and then take it to school.
Take it to school and sell it, and it's just like it was a way of life. And I was like, I always wanted to make some money. So I started a clothing brand. And really, I started it because it was a supplement brand originally.
Okay.
So I'm in college at this time, and you can't take everything because of the drug tests and the things that are banned, NCAA regulations. Yeah. So I wanted to create something that I could take and my teammates could take as well. Protein, creatine, things like that. And so I created it, and teammates loved it, and I ended up making a shirt. And they were like, man, we got to have this shirt. We want the shirt. Gave it to the team, and then it really just caught like wildfire. Like everyone on the campus was like wearing. We'd have parties where we'd give out shirts and like wristbands with the brand on them and company. And so like, it was just everyone that started to see them. We put flyers in every single seat. Like after football practice, I'd go with my friends and we'd go into every classroom and we put flyers everywhere. I had a teacher one time was like, I can't even take a piss without seeing Cam's face. Like they were like really like, it was everywhere, right? We were going crazy. And so that's when the entrepreneur spirit really started taking over more. And my mom was like, you have this money from this brand. Let's put it into something that's going to be serious, like that you can actually benefit from. And that's when she went in on my first property with me and we house hacked it. And she basically led the way.
Did she know how to do that? Or
yeah. So my mom, I'm leaving out key parts. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, no, because most people, to have that insight to actually go and do that, and most people don't know that.
No, they don't at all.
My parents had no clue. And so, yes, was she studying real estate or?
Well, so my mom works in healthcare, vice president of quality, and she always saw her mom have rental properties. And my grandma still has rental properties, the same ones she's had her whole life still to this day. And my mom used to see that. And so my mom worked in healthcare, but she had a few properties when I was growing up in high school. I think she had like 2 or 3, really just getting started and kind of just taking it slow because she knew about the wealth there. And she would always have me come help with my friends. We'd go and we'd paint, and we always hated it because like we're in high school at this time. Like we want to either be at our sports or we want to go party, right? So we're like, man, like I don't want to help my mom paint this house, but she used to pay us. And so that whole time I'm seeing her do the real estate and I had no clue. And so when I was in college, she presented the idea to me and I was like, you know what? None of my friends are doing this. I've always been a person that kind of wants to do different than what other people are doing. And so I saw that as an opportunity to just try something new and really just do something that other people aren't doing. And she already had the experience. So she spearheaded the entire process. It was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to get the loan. This is what the repairs we're going to do. And I really learned throughout that process. And we house hacked a property in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And that was the first one that I got. And I still have that property today, actually.
That's really cool. So y'all both moved in together?
Yeah. So the repairs we needed to they took like over a year. So technically we were living in it, but we were
Gotcha.
repairing everything for a while. The house is kind of bad. We got it for like $40,000.
Sure.
And so we had it for that year. And then once the time was up for the FHA, we were able to rent it out. And I was able to finally rent it out. And that's when I was like, wow, this is dope. This is amazing. I was like, you let somebody live in a house and they pay you and you don't have to do anything else?
Yep.
I was like, this, well, obviously sounds easier than what it is.
Yeah,
you know,
repairs and maintenance.
Repairs and maintenance. But for the most part, that's what it was. And I really fell in love with that.
How much did you rent it for? So you bought it for?
Bought it for $40,000. We put in maybe like $20,000 and we rented it for $1,300.
That's really good.
Yeah, $1,300. Yep.
Yeah, that's really good.
And that was like really like the point where I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then my grandpa gave me a plot of land in Louisiana where his barbershop was. He had the biggest barbershop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So it's about 7 minutes away from LSU, right downtown. It's honestly a prime real estate. And he gave it to me, and I had a snowball stand on it at the time that a guy was renting. And the guy he'd pay my grandpa. My grandpa had money and like a lot of things going on. So sometimes he'd pay him late or not even pay him. My grandpa wouldn't even notice. And they were friends, right? And my grandpa was like, he's friends with you. He'll let you cut some corners. And so when he gave me the property, I'm in college at the time. So I'm like 22. So when this guy's late on payments, I'm contacted. I'm like, yo, 5 days late. Like, where's the rent at? And I ended up having to evict him. And so once I went through that process and I was like, okay, I have this land. What should I do with it? And then my parents gave me the idea to basically open up a shipping container park on that property. So I went and I was playing football one day and we had to pay for summer classes. I had to pay for summer classes.
How are you marketing the property for shipping containers? For people to, like, how are you marketing it to get people to put shipping containers on it?
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, Instagram, all through Instagram. Everything was through Instagram. I never did a paid ad. I never did anything.
Oh, so it was all organic.
It was all
That's
organic.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And then once I literally dropped out, moved to Louisiana, bought 2 shipping containers, put them on the property, and thought I was like changing the world, right? Painted them up. I was like, this is going to be it. And a little bit of time passes, and then the news caught on to it. That's how it got so organic so fast. The news caught on to it. We did an article. I was 24 at the time. I was like 23 or 24. And then once they ran that first story, it just started going crazy. And then like at one point, it's like when the George Floyd and COVID and everything was happening. And we had the first event we had, the mayor came out. I remember going to the property and we were having the event. It was such a last minute thing. And I didn't think anybody was going to come. I thought it was going to be a couple people. I go home, change, I come back, and it's like 400 people. It was insane. It was like 400 people. The mayor comes. Like we have a moment of silence for George Floyd. It was like this huge event. And from then on, I was on the news probably like 3 times a month for the next, probably, because Baton Rouge is small. Like not a lot of people are doing a lot of things. And I was young at the time. So it was just like a story that like they just loved. And I was on the news. Oh my gosh, it got to a point where like over the next like 5-6 months maybe, people were literally commenting on the Facebook post like, okay, can we talk about something else? Like it was like getting like that. So it was all organic, and that's how we basically got that to go down.
Okay, awesome. And so it's a storage business on
Yeah.
Okay.
So each individual shipping container is a different business. And so just getting those, and it's like outdoor food court essentially is what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And I had my own restaurant at the time in that, and that's what I was talking to Candace about. I was like, I'll never own a restaurant again. Like that was industry I do not like at all.
Yeah, I don't know much about. I've invested in everything, but restaurants not
not it.
No.
100%.
So what did you do after that? So that was your first property.
Mm-hmm.
It's how much income are you making off the first?
So
property?
each container would make about $15,000 a month, and then how I would charge. Well, I had my personal restaurant, and then I would rent out the other containers to other businesses, just like a monthly rent, and then I'll also get a percentage of sales depending on how much it was. Yep.
So how much was the one property bringing in? How many shipping containers did you have on it?
I had 6 containers, and my container would bring in about 30,000. Yeah, some months 30,000 was like a high for us.
And the other ones that you rented, how much were those bringing in?
They were making probably about 15 to 20,000 a month, and I was renting them for 1,500 because they were like little small containers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So that was like the first actual project I did, and then from there, that's when I started doing other real estate investing. So I was getting adjudicated properties in Louisiana, basically foreclosure properties, if you want to say. And
were you buying them from the courthouse or?
Yep, buying them straight from the courthouse. Go in there, you bid on them, and then you'd win the bid, and then you go, and now you have this property.
I did that for a while.
Yeah.
It's rough because when you show up, sometimes you don't see the properties.
Yep.
And there could be people living there, or it's just full house full of like a hoarder that's just basically been vacant for
burn down house. And it's different in a lot of different states. Well, Louisiana, because Texas is like that. They don't really allow you to see them sometimes, or sometimes you don't even see them.
Yeah.
In Louisiana, there's a list that comes out, and so you can go look at the properties and know what you're going to bid on. And also, after you win that bid, they give you 30 days to pay for it. So you don't even have to pay for it that day. So you can win the bid, go see if you want it or not. If you don't want it, don't even pay it, and they'll just put it up for re-auction.
Texas, the list comes out just like a week before, so you barely have any time to go look at it. And then whenever you buy it, it's cashier's checks on the spot.
On spot.
And so, man, we did okay on almost everything, and there was a couple though that it was pretty bad. One looked like it was almost a teardown, and so we made it work, but man, it was scary. And then the margins got smaller and smaller over time as like more people would go there.
More people going. Yep. And at the time when I was doing in Louisiana, nobody really knew about it, so it was easy. I was getting properties for $100. I've gotten one for $100. You go in there and they start to bid off at $100, and then
is it a tax auction or a foreclosure auction though?
And they call them adjudicated properties. And so it's like really more of like a tax. Like it's like the state selling them. Yeah. So not just like foreclosures. Because a lot of them were like either burnt down properties or just vacant land that people just didn't pay taxes on for 15,
so it's a
years.
tax. It's like a tax foreclosure. Yeah, that's what we have those in Texas too. So I was buying foreclosures, which were from the bank, and then we also had the tax foreclosure, which I didn't really buy much stuff there. But I guess the owner has a chance in Texas to come back and I think in 30, 45 days or 60 days can pay you, but they still have to pay, I think, 20% over what you paid for it. Yeah. And so you did that. You started buying houses. Did you rent them out or were you just flipping them?
Yeah, so renting them out. A lot of them were vacant properties. So I knew of a lot of different programs that the state had, just being like within the mayor and people within the government. And so I knew about a lot of projects going down. So I was buying properties where these projects were going to be happening. And I still have a lot of them, some that we haven't even developed, some that we're starting to develop this year. And most of them were vacant though, for the most part.
And then, so what did you start doing after that? So you started vacant land. What did you do with all the vacant land?
I would rent them out. So in Louisiana, one big thing is like people will rent vacant land for like car washes, snowball stands, and some even I've sold a few too as well. So really just holding on to them for the most part. And then a lot of them I would rent them out to people that wanted to do snowball stands. They'd come and park a trailer on it, and you'd rent it for $1,000 a month, and then just go. You got the property for $100. Rent it for $1,000, and now you have somebody that has a business on it, and it's like, it pays for itself. Yeah,
that's a really good return.
Yep.
So what'd you get? Yeah, so that you started buying them at the tax auction, and then what did you go into after that?
So from there, I started getting into long-term rentals a little bit more, and just buying something that needed some work, putting a little bit of money into it, and then renting it out. And long-term rentals, and then throughout that, I've really done everything.
How are you getting the loans?
Through either hard money, or I would use just a conventional, put down 20% for the most part. Yep. Or do seller financing. I really like.
And so you do hard money. Would you finance most of the house? They'd finance the repairs.
Yeah.
And then you just go refinance it afterwards.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Pay them back, and then I'll have the property.
Yep. I did that for a long time. I think that's what people need to hear too. Some people don't. If they're new to real estate investing, they don't even know what hard money is. Hard money is essentially they're going to lend only on the property and not on your credit or your income, and they're going to lend on the asset. They'll usually lend you 75% of appraised value. So if you can get the property at 75% of value after repair, then you can walk into the property with little to no money.
Little to no money. And a lot of people think that, the interest rates aren't great sometimes, and there's points, but you do it in a timely manner.
If you work it into the numbers, it still makes sense on some properties. And so that's what will always make me check my numbers, because I'd at least be into it for 75%, but I'd include all the fees and everything else. And so the idea would be try to get it, for little to no money after you walk away, and then be cash flowing.
Be cash flowing. I love just the game of real estate. And there's so many different ways to, especially beginners, there's so much stuff online and social media that they just really can't take it in. Like what are the actual things I can, take from this post or what these people are saying and from YouTube and actually make it tangible.
Were you doing all that in Louisiana?
Yeah. So at this time I was in Louisiana, and I moved to Texas just like 2 years ago. I moved to Houston, but my mom's always done real estate out here as well. And so we just started doing more projects out here once I moved out here. But most of my things are in actually Louisiana.
And so did you start the same concept when you moved out here? You just doing the same thing, getting hard money, buying properties?
Yes, sir. Yep. Same thing, just kind of just rinse and repeat for the most part. And then getting into commercial is something I really want to do. My mom, we purchased a property in Ocala, Florida, which was a 12-unit got it for like 160,000 at the time, and then sold it a year later for like 360. And that was our first kind of taste of commercial, and so that's something we're trying to jump back into now.
Yeah, commercial is better just because it's not better. I mean, they're both really good. I mean, single family is like a amazing place to start.
It was a start, but you have to get there.
It teaches you construction. It teaches you, finance and trying to make the property cash flow. But it's hard to scale, and the margins, aren't as great. And so for the same amount of work, you can go buy a building or apartment complex and same amount of rehab time, the same amount of everything, and then there's just a lot more margin if you can find the right distressed property.
Yep.
How many did you get up to total properties, or how many have you sold?
15. Well, yeah, 15. Some don't have things on them, but 15 for the most part. But now I'm at that point, like you said, it's like you can only go so fast with it with the single families, and it's good. The flips are good to get cash flow or to get money and then use it to buy long-term rentals to get the cash flow up.
That's what I was doing too. So are you still flipping properties?
So I have a few flips that I'm doing right now.
What areas of town?
That's in like off MLK, 3rd Ward, 5th Ward, the areas that are gentrifying a little bit more, where they're building the townhomes. I try to find homes throughout there.
Are they still selling with interest rates kind of, at 7-8%?
Yeah. I would say so. For the most part, they are. And then a lot of times we do seller financing a little bit more as of lately, just because a lot of these owners, especially in these areas, like, it sounds appealing to them. And so they'll take it. But I really want to get into commercial a lot more within this next. Like, I actually have a 12 unit that I'm looking at right now. And a lot of people don't know too, like the bank will help you finance a multifamily more, a commercial way better than a single family I'm seeing.
They're going to base it off revenue.
Yeah, they're going to base it off revenue and rents and rent increases in the value you can add on that property.
So is the property you're looking at, is it distressed or is it value add?
It's a value add because they've only renovated 4 of the units. But my problem is the occupancy on it. So they've renovated 4 of the units. So the value add would be, renovate the rest of the units, maybe add a grill area, something outside, repaint it, make it nice, add a washer and dryer in every single unit, and then try to slowly go up on the rents and then add value there. But it's with the occupancy is kind of a little bit scary on it. From all my mentors that I've had, they always say you want to have at least like 90% occupancy when you're trying to buy a commercial for the most part. So I'm just trying to see with these times, if I were to get it, would I be able to rent it out and kind of how that looks? But I still have to go see it and go through some numbers, see what the cap rate is.
Yeah, if you're buying a distressed property, sometimes you're buying them vacant and you're adding the value by rehabbing it and then getting the tenants after that. How many units was it?
It's 12. Yeah, 12 units. Over
one bedroom or 2 bedroom?
They're 1 bedrooms. Yeah, okay. 1 bedrooms. So it's kind of near U of H, so it'll be like a little bit more student housing.
Yep.
So there's potential for that, but still trying to run all the numbers and just make sure it all makes sense. Yep.
So are you continuing to buy single family, continuing to buy flips in Houston?
So right now I bought a single family in February that I probably shouldn't even have got, but it was just a great deal. And then I've been doing some flips. So I have 3 flips I'm doing now. And then after this, that's when I'm really going to try to just start jumping into commercial.
Are you using hard money for the flips that you're doing?
For one of them I did. Mm-hmm.
And the other 2 are just conventional?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's people are always asking when, hey, how do I get into real estate or how do you get loans? And so that's why I keep asking those questions, because I think it's for people to understand that you can get into little or no money out of pocket when you first start by using hard money, or, you have an investor or they have a friend or a family member that will put up the money and they can do the work and they can do the flip. And so I think anybody can get into it is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Where are you going to go? Where do you think you're going to go, from this point on? What are you going
to... That's actually a really good question. I really want to get to, it's a stretch. I really want to get to 100 units within the next 2 years. So just trying to attack that goal, buy more multifamily, and just really just dive into it. I like the flips, but I really want to, like you said, you're putting in the same effort for, why can I just go do that for 15 units instead of just a single one? So that's really what I want to do. I want to get to 100 units within this next 2 years. So that's kind of really what my goal is, and to keep expanding on my social media and also just with properties and building out my contracting business as well.
Oh, so you're doing contracting?
Yeah, I'm a contractor as well. Okay. Yep.
So let's talk about the social media thing. I did see that you're really into health and fitness. Mm-hmm. Is that from your football days or
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like when growing up, that's like that was just like our life. Like we played sports and we always worked out and we always just kind of stayed fit. So it was like such a lifestyle thing. So for me now, it's more so just like it just helps my mental health and just how I feel just about myself and just how I feel generally. Like when I work out, when I run, just taking care of my body, I feel the best. And so for me, it's just always something that I've done just because of sports, and it was just easy to continue that just the older I got as well. And it's just something now. It's just in my daily routine.
Yeah, that's what I use it for.
Yeah.
Of course, when you're 18, you want to build muscle and look good, but then after that, it's just more of the mental thing. You wake up every day like it's challenging. You're doing something hard, and
Right.
So it becomes mental, and then just trying to stay in shape when you get older.
Yep, 100%.
Definitely a big part of my life.
Yeah.
What do you train it like? How's your training?
My training now, because when I was playing football, we lifted so heavy all the time. And so now I'm more so, like you said, you just want to be, you want to be strong, all of these things. But now it's just like, I don't even care. I just want to feel good and just like look healthy. Right. So now my goals I run about 3 to 4 times a week. And then I strength train probably 6 days a week, I would say. So I'll either run after my lift or before my lift, the days I run. And then I strength train, I work out.
Are you following any particular diets or?
No particular diet. I kind of eat what I want, but I don't eat like fast food. I try not to eat too many sweets, but I keep it like, every meal I usually eat protein, a veggie and a carb, right? And I try to just keep it healthy like that. But I don't follow any like strict diet or even a strict like workout schedule. I just know I want to run a lot during the week because I really want to do a marathon. So that's something that recently I picked up because I hated running growing up because like we used to have to do it for conditioning and like as punishment. So it was never enjoyable for me. So now I'm trying to like get myself into liking it. I really want to run a marathon, but that's a lot easier than said. Like once you start running, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know. The long distance thing for me is
it's tough. It's tough. I can't do it. Like I have a friend that runs 4 hours. He runs a marathon every single month. And it's like 4 to 5 hours you're running just constant. I'm like, I don't even know if I can do that.
I don't think so either.
It's
and then
insane.
When you're training for it, my knees and my feet start hurting.
Yeah.
I'm not even that tired. I mean, I'm tired, but my body feels like it's falling apart when I run long distances. I was never a long distance guy. Like I always loved running, but like 3 miles was my, like I would always do 3 to 5 and that was like max 5.
That's funny. I used to always, cause I was a sprinter. So like I could run short distances all day, but once you do a mile, I would die every single time. Like I was never long distance. So now it's like the most I can run now is probably like 3.5 miles, but it's not like, I'm not 7 minutes. Like it's just like a steady jog. Cause I'm just like doing it just to like really just like, release my mind and kind of just enjoy myself. But that's kind of where I am now. I don't really have like a strict schedule I follow with nutrition or fitness. I'm just kind of just trying to enjoy my life and just be healthy as I can.
Well, how old are you now?
28. Yeah, 28.
Yeah,
I turned 29 on next month actually.
Yeah, so super inspirational for people that are out there that want to get into real estate. I mean, I get so many questions all the time, and I started pretty young, and I'm glad I did. And so for people that are out there, I think you are an inspiration whenever I follow your social media, for people out there that want to get into real estate, and especially younger guys. Yeah,
and I really try to show every side of it, like even the bad things, like you said, having a house with hoarders in it, like this stuff happens, and like managing these single families is a headache. The tenants are the worst thing about it, and it's like the things that happen. So I really try to show every single side of just the real estate, not just the good, not just the bad, because people like to get on Instagram and only show the highlights, everything, how you can get a property with 0 down and this, but they don't talk about, the bad things that come with it and how to manage these things. So with social media, I really tried to just show every side of, the journey, and then, my losses and my wins, and then kind of just trying to be as transparent as I can
and
be.
So that's probably why you have the following you do. Transparency always helps in,
in
creating value for people that are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the single family stuff is super hard on the management side.
100%.
Especially are you doing it all yourself, or do you have a management?
No,
company?
I have a property manager. But even then, it's still like you still get, you still have to talk to them. When they get a problem, they contact you for the problem. So it's like you never.
Do you have
really
it set on like just say, hey, don't call me if it's under $100 or $500?
Yeah, we have like I think it's $350. Yeah, our limit is like $350. So if it's above that, give me a call. But if not, just go ahead and get it fixed and just bill me for it later.
What are they charging you for, like a fee to manage all the
properties? To manage it, 6%.
That's actually pretty good.
Really good. I used to have somebody that charged me 15% at one point. Yeah, which is
that's
crazy.
hard to
I was young.
That's also hard to make money on single families if you're giving 15%.
It's like It's ridiculous.
a lot of your margin.
Yeah, if my rent's $1,000, I'm giving you $150. It's like, yeah.
I never found a good property manager early on, and so that was my big struggle. I got up to probably 58 single family homes, and I was losing my mind because all the tenants were calling, and so I finally kind of got a admin assistant that was managing them and handling all the rents, and so it was helpful, but it was just still tough. And they were all over the city. I mean, Katy, Baytown, Texas City, like
Ripping and running.
yeah. So it's hard to get contractors everywhere.
Yep.
You have to find people in the area, and you're not getting good prices, and so that's ultimately why I ended up getting rid of them, because I was like, it's just too hard to scale. Like I wanted to get to 100 doors, 200 doors, and I was like, I don't think it's going to take me too much time and energy to try to get to that 200 doors like that. And so I just kind of mainly went strictly commercial. Was able to sell off most of them in a good time, and it kind of worked out. But that's where I went to the commercial route. So
yeah, that managing it can be tough.
Yeah,
100%.
you're on the right path though.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I'm doing it all young, because I'm really figuring it out now, and I'm like, okay, and I'm telling people too, I'm like, get a property manager, like that's what you need to do, but this is not where you want to end up. Like I'm seeing that now. Like I used to always want to have 15, 20 doors, and I thought that was just going to be it, but now I'm like, there's so much more, and like you just learn so much through the process, and it's like, okay, now I see where I need to take it now, and like I'm not really falling in. Like I love flips, but like at the same time, especially now, it's a job, and you got to go, and you have to make sure that the contractors. I had a problem today where I went to one of the flips, and the guy was just doing something wrong, and like he's got alcohol in his breath, and it's like these are things that you have to deal with, and it's just like
every day.
It's annoying, right? So these little things, and I'm just like I love being hands-on, and that's my biggest thing. So like I get bored really easily with things, and so it keeps me energized, and it keeps just like, I love that it's always changing. I just love that. Like I love that, yeah, there's going to be problems, but for me, that's where I thrive. And it's like problem solving, and it's like doing it and just figuring it out. Like I love, like today was a busy day, but like a day like today, I love days like these. Like even though I might want to pull my hair out, but it was just good. It was busy, and there were things I had to figure out. So for me, I love it.
Yeah, I still do a couple flips a year, only because I just like doing them.
It's
but they're
fun.
on the high end side, so and they're only in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I don't go outside of my neighborhood just because it is to go manage it, and it's just a pain.
Yeah.
And so I'll do like a couple just because I like it so much, and still do 1 or 2 a year, but still take that money, go buy more commercial buildings with it.
100%.
But yeah, the hardest part is managing contractors, managing the job, especially. That's why I started doing commercial, because it's the same amount of work. But just a bigger building with bigger numbers, right? So you're still showing up to the job site every day. You're still dealing with the same amount of contractors. Still about 3 to 6 months, depending on what you're doing. But it's just a lot bigger numbers. You can make a lot more money, build a lot more equity, and walk into a building with a lot more equity. So yeah, you're definitely on the right path, man, for sure. Where do you so I know you said you want to get to 200 doors. Like how do you think you're going to get there? Is it all through multifamily?
Yeah, I would say for the most, I really liked Section 8. You know who Tom Cruise is? Tom Cruise is this guy. He has like maybe like 800 Section 8 units, and that's what like I really wanted to do. And I was getting to the point where I wanted to buy like a lot of, like when I asked you like, did you sell all of them at once? And I was going to do that, where I was buying just like someone that is getting too old and then wants to sell all their units. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm still debating on, I'm going to do commercial regardless, but I want to get there within commercial. And then also I still want to have some single families on the side in different areas, because like in Louisiana, where I grew up, I like having them in those communities that are underserved. I'm sorry about that. And, in those areas I can build up and things like that. So I still have that kind of side of it, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
Single families are also super safe. Like
Yeah,
you're always going to rent them. Like
Always,
they're never
always.
going to go empty. So that's the only downside to commercial on some of the bigger industrial stuff we do. Is it's just different. It takes a little bit longer cycle to find a business and put somebody in there. But single families always rent. They never go empty, especially if you have like, if it's a 3-2 or
100%.
just a small, anything under 1,500.
Yeah, it's going to get rented, and that's the good thing about them. Like they're safe. That's a good word. It's safe.
It is.
You got to take risks sometimes.
How much general contracting are you doing outside of your own stuff?
So right now I'm doing, especially like the hurricanes and these things, people contact me through like social media or through my business page. And so I have like different crews go out that I've worked with and do it. So sometimes I subcontract it out. So they'll contact me. If I can't really come do it with my guys, I'll find somebody for you and then go from there. But honestly, it's been picking up a lot more lately. And then I'm doing some flips for some people coming up in these next couple months. So
is it all social media driven?
yeah,
That's really
all
cool.
of it. Yep, all of it social media driven. And the best thing about it, it's like technically it's free. I mean, you can run ads, but I mean, social media, it's like, if you're just organic with it, and I meet a lot of people through that, and just reshares, reposts.
If you're building value, if you're building value,
if you're building
you're
value,
gonna have a ton of people reach out and say, "Man, how can you help me with this? How'd you do this? What
100%.
contractor do you use for this?" Yeah.
Yep. And that's how I get a lot of referrals and just a lot of business there. So people contact me and say, "Hey, man, I want to flip a property. I have, X amount of dollars. Would you be able to flip it for me, or can you have somebody come assist me with it?" And I'll either send them one of my friends that does flips, or I'll help them out with that as well. So that's what I'm doing.
You just charge them like consulting fee, or you just
either a consulting fee
or partnering with them on it,
or either like a consulting fee, or I charge like a fee up front to basically make you all the connections and get everything, and then once it sells, if I like manage the entire project, then I'll get some of the profits at the end, a percentage of it. That's kind of how I structured it for the most part, but I'm seeing, trying to figure out what works. I have a friend that actually does it full time, and I was recently talking to him last week to try to see like what his numbers were and how much he was charging to make sure I was in the right ballpark, because I've in the past I've undercharged like too much, sometimes, because I really like to bring value. So like if anybody needs help, I'm always willing to help them and not even charge for the most part. But a lot of times you have to charge for your time, especially something like this. Like you're going to be
to try to scale
a lot more
it.
hands-on. Yeah, trying to scale it.
It's going to be tough, and you're going to get spread too thin. Running your own jobs.
And that's happened. Yeah,
trying to run a bunch of other jobs. That's the hard part about flipping too. It's like it's finding the deal, managing the projects, and so to scale that too, it's hard.
Yeah, it's like you can't do 10 to 15 at one time. Like, what are you going to do? Go by every single? You can't do that. You don't have enough hours in a day. So, and you can't spread yourself too thin as well.
Certain properties start to sit, and then you don't have the people manage them. I mean, if you had a full-time manager, you could probably do 10 or 15.
100%.
We were doing it for a while, but it was just, again, we were buying it from the auction.
It's a hustle.
Yeah, it is. It was really tough. And then you're doing it on a lower end house, and so you're doing all this work for just a small margin. Yeah.
And these homes are typically 100,000 to like 150, 160,000 is the range I'm in. And I really want to get out of that because, like you said, I mean, they're going to rent and they are safe, but I want to get into the point where I want to do some luxury flips. Like, I really want to do something like so nice, like how I can see my future home being, and like really look at the finished product and be like, wow, this is beautiful.
That's what I do.
And I want to get into
that. Yeah, that's what I do. So whenever I do them, again, that's why I can go spend the amount of money I want to spend. I can make it look as nice as I want to make it look. The other ones, you're just trying to do as much as you can on the budget you have.
Because you don't want to go all out for this house, and it's going to sell, might go up $5,000 because the new counters you put in and spending all this extra money that you didn't have to. You can, and there's another thing too. Like, I try to tell a lot of people, like, just being like, you want to make sure you create a good product that they can sell, and not just look for ways to cut corners and make it nice, but don't overdo it. Know where the property is, know the area, know what's selling around, because sometimes you don't even have to do all the extra. Just do it
most of the time. And then also when you go to sell, people have to know that you have to go through inspections, and you're going to have to fix stuff after inspection. So you want to make the house nice for someone, and maybe not overspend on the looks, but actually just repair everything, make it nice. And because usually that's why in first-time home buyers, you have a lot of people back out during the inspection process because it's normal, but they get worried and they're like, there's so much wrong with this house, even though it's a lot of small stuff.
Because the average, that's so funny. The average person that really doesn't know, like, they haven't been in real estate that long, they see the inspection report that's 40, 50 pages long, and they're like, oh, what? I had a student recently, the inspection report came back. Might have been like 60 pages. And she was just like, hands in the air. She's like, oh no. She's like, no. But I tell him, I was like, look, I know the inspector. He's going to give us a list of the actual things we need to fix and worry about.
It's very broad, and you may want to do this, and you may want to do that.
There's some things that are so small, like a socket was turned the wrong way, or like, there's a lot of little things.
In that price range though, it's hard because you'll have and we were doing 15 or 20 at a time. You have a lot of people that back out in that, 10-20% of our houses, like somebody's back out like every single time, just only because of inspections, or maybe they're nervous and they don't really understand it. Even though you're like, I'll fix all this stuff, it's not a big deal, and they're like, no, it's too much. We want 20,000 off the house or something. It's like
no, I can't do it. My margins are
you don't even have that.
It's such a game, and just been learning so much about it over the years, and I truly just fell in love with it. I can't see myself doing anything else. I never thought I would be doing it, but I just truly can't see myself doing anything else. I just love the hustle and bustle of it, and the ceiling of growth is just
unlimited. Yeah. And then you'll learn over the years, and it's cool that you're teaching people and you're helping people and inspiring people. I mean, that's really cool. That's kind of why we started the podcast. It's why we have a lot of real estate guys on. I like people to, if I would have had all this information when I was 18, 19, it was a little bit pre-social media, no YouTube. And so I was just like, I just figure it out myself. And so if I can at least shorten people's learning curve, or you can, if by helping people, super cool.
Yep.
And I think that's what social media is good for, is like you have access to all this information.
And that's when I realized social media was strong, because I never thought what I was doing was really, I never took social media serious until maybe like 4 years ago. One of my friends told me, he was like, you have to start showing what you're doing, because I didn't think it was interesting. I was just like, I mean,
if I could have documented all the stuff I
just,
did for the last
my
25
gosh.
years, it would be amazing.
Insane.
Yeah.
Right. And you just don't think to do it. And like, you don't think that people think your journey or what you're doing is interesting. And then
it's kind of how I felt.
is.
I'm like, I just do, this is what I do every day. Like I never even really thought to,
who would
post
even
it or
attach to it.
Yeah.
And then you start getting messages that are like, man, you inspire me to do this. And like people tell me all the time, like, you inspired me to get into real estate. You inspired me to live healthy. Like just simple things that I'm doing. And I'm like,
which is really cool. You don't think
you
you're
don't
doing
think that at all.
Yeah.
You don't think that because like, you're just regular people. So
I just started. So, but
Yeah.
I still get those same messages right now.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Man, that's crazy. I don't even have, there's not a lot of people on there, but so many people reach out, especially on the health and fitness side.
It just shows you that you're doing the right thing and the right people your message is being caught the right way.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's good to have you on.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I really loved it. And I really like y'all's podcast. I'm watching some of y'all's videos. Y'all are doing it the right way. 100%.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
And just wanted to have you on, man. You're inspiration to a lot of people out there.
Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
keep doing what you're doing.
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.